Hello, Defibox community. Maxim Cincinnatis here. I wanted to do a quick video so that you guys can have some idea of who I am. Wanted to talk about my application concerning DIP46 and why I think it would be a good candidate, and just talk through some really basic things. One of those is just clarifying how to vote and where to go for this particular proposition. Of course, this is concerning Defibox, but if you go to the community tab and click on vote, DIP46 is currently the only active voting DIP for Defibox right now. But if you click on that, there's a brief summary of what exactly you're voting for. There's a better summary on another page, which I want to show you as well. But there's the candidates here who are all running for this position. I am here, L Maxim Cincinnatis, and you can see, what has happened so far. These things can change very quickly, and they have. I'm currently in position 4, and I am so glad to express my thanks for everyone who has voted for me so far. So I'm hoping that I at least am in position 4, because I would like to be a board member, which the top 4 become board members, and I'll show that in a second. One other thing that I think is worth recognizing that I was happy to see was the number of votes and the proposition participation have been unusually high. I haven't seen this much participation in a while, and the engagement is just great to see. So I'm excited for that. By the way, you can see the past board members here, as part of their duties are approving DIPs. So and Dennis, for example, just as one example, is running again, and glad to point that out. So if we go also to this other page, Dow election, it I think is really worth looking at if you're going to vote on this. It does talk about a little bit more specifics. It talks about, for example, the requirement to be a candidate. One of those requirements is to hold 1,000 box in the box staking system. I think this, of course, is to help show aligned incentives that these people are actually for box, and I think that's a great thing. There's some other requirements, but that's one of note. The candidates are here. Here I am, for example. If you click on any of these individuals, it will bring up basically their resume and their manifesto, whatever they wrote concerning who they are and this position. And here's mine. I want to talk about that. There are some things that I didn't put on there that I think would have been that are worthy of note also, but that's what I submitted for that. And then here is a further explanation. I think it's a little bit more thorough than what is on the let's go here on this page here. You can see there's a lot more info. So what I am, like I said, what I'm really hoping to be is a board member, which is the top 4 members are automatically selected as board members. And one other thing is, for this position, there's 100 box. It just talks about the box that you get for doing certain things in this position as part of the responsibilities and rights portion. And of course, I am jealous for every box, but I do want to point out that I would be very motivated still for this position if there was not a box incentive. I love that there is, but it is not why I am doing this alone. I think there is a bright future for box. I think box is innovating, improving, putting creativity, thought, and effort into itself even in a bear market. And I think it's putting itself in a great position to be in the way I think of it, to be in the way of opportunity, so that when the bull market comes, when EOS expands and grows and I think is taken advantage of in the best way possible, like it should, Defibox is going to be in a great position, just as an example. Yes, I've been in Defibox very close to the beginning, and I've loved it. There's some things that have happened over time that I've been a little bit not sure about, but overall, some of those things have been recorrected, and it's in a very good place right now, and I'm very excited to be applying for this position and to be talking to you about that. So more on my resume. Before I forget, 2 things that I did want to talk about that are not on here are I am a round 1 EOS Eden delegate, and then I'm also a member of Fractally. And related to this as well, I have recently my past work experience is 15 years in IT and then some real estate development experience. And currently, my focus is primarily on blockchain. And I've shifted the greatest part of my focus. I do still have some other projects going on in real estate, but my primary focus is blockchain. And that is, I want to be more involved. And this is one of those projects that I think is a great project, and I would like to be a part of improving it and making it even better. And I want to make sure that some of my other efforts within this this blockchain sphere, specifically related to Box, is recognized, that I am involved in other ways too. But what I have here, 15 years in IT at Washington State University. My favorite responsibilities were project management, which is a very large part of what I was doing when I left the university. I was able to work with directors, and was very lucky. I guess the directors that I worked with were excellent people, and I very much enjoyed working with them. Had a specific type of technology that I focused on, and was working with them to clarify if they wanted this in their area, what the costs would be, the timeline would be. There were some subjective proponents to it, like the size of things, where they would be placed, which, worked with them to also clarify. I would propose an idea, and then they could tweak it a little bit. We would work together to make that happen. But I would do a lot of planning out and making sure they understood ongoing costs of these things, what the initial costs would be, what the timeline would be, when we'd be able to implement the testing phase, and then the upkeep over time. And then it was also my job primarily. I did work with other people to do these things, but it was mainly on me to make sure that, okay, we've agreed on this, got to make it happen, and that my timelines were accurate, and I like to think they were very accurate. I tried personally to always exceed what I was going to say I was going to do, and exceed expectations whenever possible. I think it's a very rewarding way to live. But I very much enjoyed that. And then I did move over to real estate, which was quite the transition. I was the first employee in a real estate development firm, and we built 12 houses in my local area, and I was the project manager for that. Ended up hiring a number of other people throughout that year, and being over 40 different contractors. And one of the things that I talked about in my manifesto that I think is valuable to me and that I want to relay is what helped me go from some amount of specialized knowledge in IT over to an area where I had less specialized knowledge. I had project management experience, but I was not an expert on building houses, but it went well. I felt a lot of respect, especially over time, from contractors. They would want to come back and work for me versus other people. And some of the reasons why that was the case was because I recognized truthfulness, authenticity, and care for others are just very simple, good foundations to build from. They could tell that I cared about them as people. I wanted them to succeed. I was not afraid to tell them if I didn't know something. And a lot of times I would state it like this: if there was a problem that came up, I would refer to them. I would say things like, in your experience when this has happened, what have you seen work well? And so they're working with me on the solution. And oftentimes that went very well. And I really appreciated my contractors for the most part, and lots of stories with them. But I also really appreciated my growing team as I was working there. I loved working with my team to clarify what is our goal, how are we going to get to that goal, and also setting in. I think it's very important to set in like benchmarks and times where you're checking in at this particular point in time. Where are we, and what can we be doing? What practical steps, or what is the problem area, most likely the biggest one that's going to help us get there? And since we were new, there was a lot of processes and procedures. For example, there was none in place when I started. So we had to create these things, and I loved working with my team using our creativity to solve these problems. And I loved also finding out that certain people that as we hired them were really talented in certain areas. So I would kind of do the same thing. I was very quick to ask their opinions, their expertise, which motivated them and made them feel good, rightfully so, because their ideas were having a real impact on all of us, and the success of the project. Everyone won. And those are values that I want to bring to Defibox, want to bring to them, bring values like that to wherever I'm at. And just wanted to talk very briefly, really looking forward to working with more of the Defibox team and the other individuals also running in this position. Anyway, thanks for watching this. Go EOS, go Defibox, and have a great day.